What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be wrapping up Defensive Player Week and wrapping up my top 10 player list for the 2021 season. Earlier this week, I've done defensive linemen and linebackers, and today I'm going to be showing you my personal top 10 defensive backs in the 2021 class. Hey, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel recently. I'm just a huge college fan. I'm no expert. I know I'm not going to get everything right all the time. But again, if you like what you see from me and you want to hear my opinion on how things are going this season, guys, we're less than 2 weeks away. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Channel's almost tripled in size the past couple months. So again, thank you guys so much. You can also leave likes, share the videos as well. Again, helps push them out to people that want to see this kind of content. And you can also leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts on the defensive back group, or maybe if you feel like I snubbed someone from the list. Again, guys, there are a lot of players personally that I like more than other players. Again, that's how things are going to work. But there are also a lot of players that I considered putting on this list. And again, these defensive player lists were really, really hard to compile because there are just that many talented defensive backs out there. And this defensive back class maybe has been said to rival the one that we saw in the NFL draft not that long ago. I believe it was 2013, 2014, that had some great defensive backs. Again, there have been some great defensive backs in years past, but this year's class is extremely, extremely talented, which made it really hard to compile this list. And for anyone that cares, I am wearing an official Ohio State jersey. It just got shipped in today from the team store. Again, if anyone cares, has my name and number on it. I'll probably get into it at a later date if anyone's interested. But for all you fine people out there, let's go ahead and talk about the defensive back group in 2021. Again, I can only fit 6 guys on the honorable mention list, and these were the 6 closest to making my top 10. So Bubba Bolden at the University of Miami is a really good leader back there. Should have a solid season for the Hurricanes. And below him, you got, you got Andrew Booth from the University of Clemson. You could also throw Nolan Turner in there as well. Again, Booth plays cornerback, Turner plays safety. So some guys there that easily you could make a case for being in the top 10. Again, both just barely missed out on my list. Tywan Mullen there at the University of Indiana, an underrated defense, an underrated player. I think he should get some love here. You also got Travius Hodges Tomlinson, a really, really good defensive back at the University of TCU, or I guess Texas Christian University, TCU, right? Should have a really good season. And then on the right side of your screen, you see a couple SEC players. That's Jalen Catalong at the top, plays for, of course, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Hogs. And then below him is Josh Jobe, a player for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Both should have very good seasons as well. Now, when you look at these 6 guys, you can throw Nolan Turner in there as well. One of these guys would have made my top 10 if it wasn't for a player that I have mentioned before on this channel, and a player that is absolutely sensational. His name is Reed Blankenship. Raise your hand if you've heard of Reed Blankenship. Raise your hand if you've heard of Middle Tennessee. If anyone out there raised their hand, applause to you. Reed Blankenship, if you've heard of him before, you know what I'm about to talk about. He is an absolutely sensational talent. Now, in 2019, again, I'm not going to give 2020 stats for all these players because 2020 was a weird year. They might not have played a lot. There might have been injuries. There are some other factors that go into that. I feel like 2018 best shows what type of player he is. In 2019, he had an ankle injury. In 2020, it was a little bit of a lackluster season for him. So he should be able to get back to what he was doing in 2018, which, as you see, is an insane stat for, yes, he plays defensive back. You would probably normally expect the first line stat from a linebacker, but nope, came from a defensive back. 107 tackles, 69 by himself. Nice. 8 tackles for loss with 1 sack. And then his ball skills, 4 interceptions, returned 1 for a touchdown. It was a 100-yard return against Old Dominion. Calm down, Reed Blankenship, with 7 passes defended. Reed Blankenship is an absolutely phenomenal player. He's an excellent pursuit player. Hey, why do you think he has so many tackles? He's a ball hawk. He will go where the ball is, and he will wrap you up. He's a fantastic tackler. He's also a terrific outside blitzer, which is why you see him have 8 tackles for loss and a sack. And those numbers definitely could be raised in 2021 if he has the type of season like he did the year we're looking at in 2018. You can go look at his 2020 stat line. It's not a bad stat line. It's a pretty good stat line, all things considered, but 2018 is just an insane season. The only thing I'd tell him to work on is his man-to-man coverage. He's really good in zone coverage, and he's pretty good at reading plays, but sometimes in his man-to-man coverage, he can get beat. Now, it's usually not a horrible problem because, again, his pursuit play, but working on that man-to-man coverage would be nice to see out of Reed Blankenship. But trust me, if you have a chance to watch a Middle Tennessee game, please watch it, and you will not be disappointed with Reed Blankenship's production. They might not win the game, but I assure you Reed Blankenship will light up the stat sheet every single Saturday or every single time Middle Tennessee plays this year. He's at number 10. All right, number 9 is Brandon Joseph. Hey, if that name sounds familiar, look at the bottom picture. We'll get to that in a minute. As a redshirt freshman last year, so came in 2019, ended up redshirting, and then last year as a redshirt freshman did this: 46 tackles, 26 by himself, with 1 tackle for loss, 6 interceptions, and 2 passes defended. Now, of course, passes defended, you have to throw interceptions in there as well. So a total of 8 passes defended and 6 interceptions in only 8 games played. He has tremendous ball skills. I mean, absolutely incredible ball skills. His ball skills can compete with any other defensive back in the entire nation. Case in point, that interception in the Big Ten championship game against Garrett Wilson. Need I say more? He's active in both the pass and the run game. He'll fill any spot you want him to fill. He'll be assigned to anyone. And again, they trust him enough to play him one-on-one in the slot against Garrett Wilson, a guy who I've named a top 3 wide receiver in the nation. Pretty good player. Experience is key, though. There's not really a huge knock to his game. It's that maybe he hasn't played enough, or he hasn't been utilized in the way that he's going to thrive the most. Although he thrived pretty well in the role they played him in last year there at Northwestern. I know a lot of people are counting Northwestern out, but trust me, if Brandon Joseph has a really, really good season 2021, which I believe he's going to, why do you think I have him on this list? And maybe they play him in some roles that he hasn't played in before. Again, this guy can play anywhere. Absolutely phenomenal. He's at number 9. Number 8 is a guy by the name of Trent McDuffie. And we're going to look at his 2019 stats because I believe only had 6 tackles in 2020. He might have opted out, got injured. I'm not sure what happened with him last year. Washington fans, you can let me know. But I do know that 2019 was a pretty solid year for Trent McDuffie. 45 tackles, 37 by himself, 2 forced fumbles and recovered 3 fumbles, 1 interception with 2 passes defended. He is a very, very explosive and athletic player. And he shows both of those things every single play. He's explosive. He's athletic. Anytime he can get involved on the play, he's going to get involved. He's terrific in that regard. He has the explosiveness and athletic ability to match any wide receiver that he faces up with. Or I should say most wide receivers that he faces up with. There could be a couple exceptions. But overall, very, very good in that regard. He has elite football IQ and elite instincts. His instincts very rarely, if ever, stray him in the wrong direction. He's a very good instinctual player, doesn't get fooled by a lot of trick plays. Very, very good in that regard. The only thing that I would like to see out of Trent McDuffie is some better ball production. Maybe knocking a couple passes away instead of trying to hit the guy, get the guy down. But again, when you look, 1 interception, 2 passes defended, I mean, it's not horrible numbers, and he picked off a ball. So that's always a positive. You force a turnover, but maybe you'd like to see a little more than 2 passes defended. Again, technically 3 because of the interception, but maybe you'd like to see a little bit more. But again, if he can improve on some of that ball production, pad the stats a little bit, he could be a first-round selection. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Trent McDuffie's at number 8. You see what I did here, right? Yeah. You see? Okay, sorry. Not funny. Moving on. Bad joke. I know. Sevyn Banks at number 7. Coincidentally, where's number 7? Because his name is 7. He's got to be at the 7th spot in my countdown because his name is Sevyn Banks. Where's number 7? Got it? Following? Good. Let's go. 23 tackles in 2020, 19 by himself with 0.5 tackles for loss. It was an assisted tackle for loss, and that's why that is that. 1 fumble recovery, which he recovered in the end zone for a touchdown, with 6 passes defended in 2020 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. he has very elite mobility. Very elite mobility. He's an extremely mobile player, does have number-to-number coverage, his lateral quickness, his twitchiness. He's a very, very mobile player, and he'll show that day in, day out. He's a sure tackler as well with good block shedding. And when you look at that, you might think, wow, only 23 tackles. Well, A, he's young. He's still a little bit of a developing player, but he has very, very high upside and good block shedding. Again, he's a sure tackler. Why do you think 19 of his 23 tackles were by himself? He can tackle pretty well. The only thing I'd like to see out of Sevyn Banks, and this I'd like to see as a college football fan, but mainly as an Ohio State fan, is consistency and his ability to react a little quicker. Sometimes, and again, this is a part of him being young and still developing. I'm sure he's worked on this a lot in the offseason, and I've seen it get a little bit better. But consistency, he's got to improve on that, getting consistent, and mainly consistent in his decision-making, his ability to react quickly to plays, to adapt quickly. And if I can see that from Sevyn Banks, well, maybe Sevyn Banks can be 5 Banks. No, sorry, bad joke. Sevyn Banks will always be Sevyn Banks, and hence at number 7 on my list. Tykee Smith is at number 6. The former West Virginia product is transferring over to Georgia. Is going to bring a winning mentality over to that Georgia defense. This is a great pickup for Georgia after losing a lot of defensive backs, as they do pretty much every year. But this is a huge pickup. 61 tackles, 33 by himself, 8 tackles for loss with 2 interceptions and 5 passes defended. That's a pretty darn good stat line for Tykee Smith, and he's got terrific attention to detail. Try to find, again, it's really, really hard, and it gets really nitpicky to find a thing wrong with Tykee Smith. You have to get like super in-depth, and I mean like more in-depth than most coaches usually go. And I know coaches go very in-depth. Like, you have to go real in-depth to find a flaw with Tykee Smith's game. He has terrific attention to detail. He's always going to find a way to impact the game, whether that be in the pass, in the run, in the special team. Like, Tykee Smith is an all-around fantastic player. He's disruptive, great instincts. Love the player. And so the question I have for him, and it's a little, I saw a lot of scouting reports say this too. Again, a lot of these things are not my personal words. I read a lot of scouting reports before I do these videos. A lot of the scouting reports say, and again, it's very unfair to throw this upon him, but his versatility is a question. He's played in a role where he has not necessarily limited responsibilities, but it's not like he doesn't move around. Like, he stays in the same position. He'll probably end up playing the same kind of role at Georgia that he did at West Virginia. But then again, that question about, well, how versatile is he? How versatile can he be used at the NFL level? Don't get me wrong. He is an NFL caliber defensive back without question. But versatility, again, kind of an unthing to question him on. But will we see it? Will we see his versatility more in 2021? That is my question. Overall, very, very nice player. He's at number 6. Number 5 is Ahmad Gardner. His 2020 and 2019 stats are pretty similar. I will go ahead and throw in that in 2019, he did have 2 interception returns for a touchdown. So 2 pick sixes for Ahmad Gardner in 2019 among 3 interceptions. And then when you look, he's a pretty consistent player. So when you look at the 2 stat sheets, hey, they're not that far off. And again, he played fewer games, so makes sense. 28 tackles, 16 by himself. A half tackle for loss, which ended up being a sack anyway. Same thing he did in 2019. 3 interceptions with 6 passes defended. The only difference is didn't have a pick 6 last year, but again had 2 in 2019. He is highly effective in press coverage. It's a style that Cincinnati, that Luke Fickell loves to play. So when you play him in press coverage, he's pretty darn good. He has some great length as well. I would know what that feels like. My wingspan's pretty huge. But Ahmad Gardner knows how to use it. And when he's on the football field, he's great at getting around blockers, great at using his length. He's not the best chase down guy, but he really can use his length to bring in those tackles, stop a big play. And not necessarily a huge knock on Ahmad Gardner, but he's a physical player. Sometimes he can be a little too physical. He has a tendency to draw flags, to draw penalties. He gets a little too handsy at times. Now, not necessarily a bad thing, but again, he has a tendency to draw flags. So again, it's okay to be physical, just, again, there's that gray area in there. And again, every ref is different, but there is that gray area in there where you're allowed to be handsy with the wide receiver. And if Ahmad Gardner can work on, again, having the ref keep the flag in his pocket, he is a fantastic player. Just needs to work on his penalty issues. Other than that, fantastic. He's at number 5. All right, number 4 is Kallr Elam. Plays at the University of Florida. His 2020 stat line looks like this: 39 tackles, 28 by himself, 1 tackle for loss, 1 fumble recovery, 2 interceptions with 11 passes defended. So he's very, very good on the ball production side. He has fantastic play reading, and his ball skills are some of the best in the entire country. Again, 11 passes defended. That's huge. That is a mind-boggling number. He can read plays very well. Look at the bottom picture. It was also kind of a missed route ran by the Vanderbilt wide receiver. But hey, overall, very, very nice player in that regard. He's also strong in the run support as well. He can act like a linebacker at times in the run support game. He is a little bit aggressive at times, but overall, his run support, again, really, really good. But again, he can improve his decision-making a little bit. Kallr Elam is one of those players that is very instinctual. He knows what he wants to do before the play even starts. And a lot of times that ends up failing him. And then he falls behind on coverage. Receivers get past him. And then you're talking about, Kallr Elam got burned. So again, if he can work on not necessarily not being so instinctual, but just letting the play develop, maybe waiting that half second more to see what the play is. And after that, Kallr Elam, one of the best defensive backs in the nation. Even if he doesn't improve that decision-making, still one of the best in the nation. Again, you'd like to see that decision-making improve, but still a great NFL prospect. He's at number 4. All right, number 3 is Jordan Battle. Plays at the University of Alabama, has 66 tackles last year with 41 by himself, 3 tackles for loss, 1 interception, which he returned for a touchdown, and 4 passes defended. Again, you can make the case for Josh Jobe to be on this list, on this top 10 list, maybe even being better than Jordan Battle. I could see some arguments for that. But in my opinion, Jordan Battle is the better defensive back than Josh Jobe, and is number 3 on my list. He shows great bursts of energy, bursts of athleticism, brings a lot of energy to every single game, every single practice, every single rep, and he shows that. He has bursts of energy, bursts of athleticism. He can bring it from 0 to 60 and like that. There we go. Finally got a good snap. Now, he did get ejected in the first half in the Ohio State game for targeting, so he will be able to start the first half of the game against Miami. So that is something I did want to say. He's also terrific at reading the quarterback's eyes. He knows where the quarterback wants to go, and why he's also a really, really good defensive back. He can read the quarterback's eyes, and if he's late on his assignment or anything, well, he knows where the ball is going before the quarterback even throws it. So he'll get there and wrap up the tackle. But that's the thing, right? His tackling technique, although 66 tackles would tell you otherwise, there are some times where when Jordan Battle goes to approach a tackle, again, we'll look at this with another player on this list coming up. I believe it's the next one. But Jordan Battle has times where his tackling technique is not the best. So again, work on your tackles, work on your technique, work on wrapping a guy up, not going for the kind of explosive hip or shoulder check. Again, we're looking at that with the player here at number 2. But overall, Jordan Battle, very, very good defensive back. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first round at all. He's at number 3. I like him a lot. Another guy I like a lot, and it's the best safety, the best, the best safety in the NFL draft this year is Kyle Hamilton. Look at what he did in 2020, 63 tackles, 51 by himself, 4.5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, along with 6 passes defended. Again, technically 7, counting the interception. He has elite versatility. You can play him anywhere. You can play him in the nickelback, in the star. You can play him at cornerback, at safety, strong, play him anywhere you want. He'll get the job done. And it leads defensive coordinators to be creative with him. So play him anywhere, get creative with your play calls. It'll work out for Kyle Hamilton. He's fluid, he's quick, he's smooth, he's agile. Do you need me to say any more adjectives? I don't think so. I think you get the point. And again, this is the player I was talking about. Focus on wrapping up your tackles. He's very aggressive going for the tackles. He wants that knockout highlight hit. He wants to get, I mean, again, not anyone's intention ever, but he's very focused on the shoulder check instead of the good wrap-up tackle. So again, if he can improve on that, this is bona fide going to be one of the best safeties in the NFL. I said it. I'm a huge believer in Kyle Hamilton. I know some people aren't, but I really do like him. But there is no doubt in anyone's mind, or at least there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be doubt in anyone's mind that Derek Stingley is the best defensive back in the entire nation. Again, plays that cornerback position. What more do I have to say? Sure, we'll look at his stat line. I'm looking at 2019, the year LSU won the national championship. 39 tackles, 31 by himself. 1 tackle for loss, 1 fumble recovery, had 6 interceptions and 15 passes defended for a total of 21 passes defended. He's disruptive in every way possible. He's not overly grabby, but he won't be afraid to get the hands on you. So he plays tough, but he plays clean. Now, the only thing I could see Derek Stingley working on is covering the inside routes. So when receivers cut to the inside, Derek Stingley is usually behind those, but is usually in front of everything else, has terrific ball skills, plays like a wide receiver at cornerback. What more good do you want me to say about Derek Stingley? I know there have been people that have said, LSU is going to do a lot better than you think. I'm not super high on LSU, but there's no reason to not be high on Derek Stingley, the best defensive back in the entire nation. And that is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those nice things. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see you guys in the next video. We're getting so close to the start of the college football season. Time to wrap up this offseason. So again, see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.